Hello and welcome to Lee Stafford Education Foundation and Happy New Year to everybody. Who have we got on so far? Please send us some little messages and let us know how you're all feeling today. Give us some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Can you hear us okay? Can you see us okay? I think we've got some special guests from City and Guilds this week. So if you're with us, please give us a shout out and let us know who you are. Just like to remind everybody what these masterclasses are all about. We do them every other week at Lee Stafford Education Foundation. And what they are is a way to show the students how they can mash up our classic recipes. So it might be a one length above mashed up with a uniform layer, just to show people how so many looks you can get with our classic recipes that we teach in the academy, day in, day out. So it's just really to equip you guys when you go out to the real world. If someone comes in and shows you a picture and you think, well, that's not quite a uniform layer, I think that might be, like I say, it might be a one length above with a uniform layer on top and a heavy fringe like we do in the one length above bob. So just to equip you with loads of different looks that you can take into the real world. Also, it's a way of us to communicate with each other on a regular basis. So you can ask us lots of questions about your career and about where you're going or where you want to go. So please feel free today, guys. Any questions, please just keep them coming. No such thing as a silly question. We certainly won't make you feel silly for any questions that you ask. So anything, it could be about the work that you see our fantastic Lydia doing, or any recipes that you're doing in the academy, or anything about your career. This is your opportunity to ask Lydia questions or ask myself questions. So without further ado, I'm going to invite a very special staff to present to you today. This young lady is really making some huge waves in the industry. This year alone, Lydia has been nominated as a Hairdresser of the Year finalist, which is an amazing thing to get nominated for. Also, Lydia was an entrepreneur finalist at the Creative Head Awards, which is another amazing accolade. And also this year, Lydia was chosen to be a member. There's only 4 members each year of the Fame team for the Fellowship of British Hairdressing, which is another amazing accolade. I mean, some of our greatest hairdressers have actually gone through that route of the Fame team. So this young lady that I'm about to introduce you to is someone that, like I say, is trailblazing through the industry, and she is a staff as well. We're proud to have her as one of our Lee Stafford Education staff. So there you go. Over to Lydia Wolfe.
Hey, hello everyone. Hi Lee. Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks so much for having me today. For anybody who's been on a masterclass with me before, it's lovely to see you again. And to everyone who is new, welcome. I know that it is my apprentice in the salon's first week at college this week. So if you're just embarking on your hairdressing journey for the first time, then congratulations and welcome. And well done on joining the best industry in the whole wide world. Yeah, so we're going to be doing something really, really fun and creative to kick off the year. And we're doing an Avant Garde masterclass today using the Lee Stafford recipes. So just going to kick straight off, if that's okay with you, and we can chat as we go, because as you can imagine, there's a lot to do when you're creating an avant-garde or competition look, and time is always of the essence. So we're gonna go straight in with the heated rollers recipe. So I thought that I'd skip ahead and complete most of the heated roller set, but I just really wanted to go over a couple of sections with just to kind of touch on it and make sure that you're really confident in putting in your heated roller sets before we dress it out and get started with our exciting look.
Anyone got any questions? Keep them. You can keep them coming in the chat so I can ask them for you. Hello, Emma. How you doing?
So, making sure the head's in natural fall so that we can get our rollers in nice and tight to the head. We're just going to do the last 2 sections, just like I say, so we can touch on it. Using our tail of our comb just to draw out our section.
And is this the classic Lee Stafford education recipe that you've prepared the hair with, Lydia?
So this is the classic Lee Stafford heated rollers recipe, and the twist that I've done is the size of the rollers I've switched up a little bit. So instead of using larger rollers in the front and smaller rollers underneath to create that support for the look, I've actually used small to medium rollers alternate throughout. The reason is, and that will be clear shortly, is because I actually want the curls to be quite tight on the ends. So voluminous at the root and a nice tighter curl at the end.
So just say that one more time, Lydia. What did you actually do different with the rollers?
So I've switched up the rollers, so using smaller rollers, and I'm alternating between really small rollers and medium-sized rollers. So you get quite a erratic kind of curl that's not uniform, and also so that we've got a nice tight and defined curl on the ends.
I love that already, Lydia. Just that idea. It's so simple, but already it sounds really interesting.
Exactly. Well, that's what these recipes are all about, right? We're standardizing, getting the method right, and then just switching up small things about it, whether it's the size of the rollers or, you know, the direction of the rollers or where we're putting parting, and that will change up our result. So here she is, and she's going to be sitting now while it cools down completely. A little bit of hairspray, and when she has cooled down completely, we take it out and ta-da!
One you did earlier.
This is one I did earlier. Because it's really, really important not to rush that step of letting the rollers cool down completely. Otherwise, your curl's going to drop and all your hard work's just going to be for nothing. So, our heated roller set, I haven't touched it, I haven't dressed it, I haven't done anything with it. Just as you can see, nice and voluminous on the root, and then a little bit of a tighter curl on the ends. And I'm going to start by working down to a centre part.
We've got quite a few new colleges that are with us today. So hello guys, welcome. If you've got any questions whatsoever, then please feel free to just ask us in the chat. We'd love to answer your questions.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Now that I've created a centre parting, just so that I can make my sections a little bit easier to manage, I'm just going to clip one really loosely out the way. And I'm clipping it really loosely so that I don't affect the curl in the ends. And then with my remaining side, I am going to tip her head completely forward, like this, and create a semicircle section from the back to in front of the ear that is parallel to her hairline. So it's going to be about 2 centimeters wide, really small. And you see how I'm just using the tip of my comb to draw that section. And then I can go back over and neaten it up if I need to. So, can you see how it's just a section parallel all the way around? And now I'm going to section the rest of it up out of the way again. And I'm sorry if my sectioning looks a little bit messy when I'm doing this, but it's because I have to section really loosely so that I don't disrupt the curl on the ends as much as possible. So I'm going to use 2 clips so that all that curl stays. Great. Now that I've got this parallel section here, I am going to switch over to another recipe, and I'm going to be using the plaiting section, the plaiting technique from the string dress recipe. Mark says, how deep does the section need to be? So like I said, it's quite a thin, quite a small section. I've only made it about 2 centimeters wide.
Why would it only be 2 centimeters, Lydia?
Because we're going to be creating a braid, and I want the braid to be really thin and size fitting. So the smaller the section is, the more easy it's going to be to see the clever sectioning that we've done. So it will all come clear in just a minute. Going to use a little bit of serum just to make the hair more malleable for me. I'm going to put another tip in just to make my section really nice and visible. And yeah, we can go for the braiding technique from the string dress recipe. So instead of creating a really big wide braid that goes all the way around the head, we're going to create a really thin braid that follows the head from here. So starting off by dividing up our 3 beginning pieces. And obviously our model's head is in a very awkward position, which leads me to say that when you're creating Avant Garde looks and competition looks, and you basically need to find someone who is going to be very patient with you and is going to help you out as much as possible to create these looks, because there's probably good times when you have to get into these slightly awkward things to get your results. So you need to find a model who's on your side, who's going to be your teammate in this.
Talking about models, Lydia, because we run a Lee Stafford Education Foundation competition every year that we do online. What would be your advice to the students when finding models?
So when you are looking for a model, sometimes what I do is I actually start looking for a model before I plan my look. So that helps me, because instead of getting my heart set on a look and then trying to find somebody with the right head to create that, I find out what head of hair I'm working with first, and then I can start planning. I think that helps because it gives you some clarity to work with, and it gives you sort of like a starting off point. And
Lydia, We seem to be getting a little bit of feedback, I think, from you. There seems to be, I've got two screens on with you. Is that right?
Oh, that would be why you're getting feedback,
A bit of
but there
feedback,
shouldn't
right?
be two screens with me. So let me find out what's happened there. Sorry, Lee.
That's
Sorry,
right,
everyone.
What I've got down the bottom here, I've got you on two screens. So
Is that better?
I've still got two screens for you.
That's so strange.
I could try to ban that one from the studio. Should I try that?
Yeah. Give that a go.
No, that something's coming up when I do that. I don't want to lose you completely.
Sorry, everyone.
Do I sound okay, guys? Are you getting feedback when I'm speaking? Mark says I'm really clear.
Good.
Hello, Jade at Darlington College. Jade's there with Olivia, Casey, Harry, and Jade. You'll say hello. Hello back, Jade. We've got Kayla Shivers. Hello, Kayla. We've got lots of new students from new colleges today. So just want to welcome everybody to the Lee Stafford Education Masterclass. We do these every other week. They're for an hour. And what we tend to do on these masterclasses is we just mash up our classic techniques that we teach in the academy day in, day out, like one length below, uniform layer, long grad. We just mash them up to give us different looks. And that's exactly what Lydia's doing today. She's doing our classic heated roll, that sounds like a sandwich, heated roller recipe. But all Lydia's done is she's done the classic recipe, mixed up different sizes, small rollers with big rollers. And now Lydia's put in a plat in the side. Was that a pretty good recap, Lydia?
Yes, that's a very good recap. And how can you hear me now?
I've got to go out. Come on, you little monkey.
How can you hear me now, Lee?
All right. How does everyone hear Lydia at the moment? Is there still feedback, or is Lydia okay? Diane Mitchell said it's better. Thank you for that, Diane. James said, what do you think the advantages are, Lydia, to starting competitions while you're training?
So I honestly could not be a bigger advocate of competitions, because Lee very kindly in my intro mentioned some recent accolades. And actually, really, all of the opportunities and all of the success that I've had with my career journey so far in hairdressing has come through putting myself forward for competitions and really enjoying that process. And somebody said to me, oh, you always win. And it was very nice. It was after I won something. But what they didn't know is how many times I had not won or not finalized or come fourth or fifth or sixth. And that was all when I was training. And it taught me so much about what I could do next time and how I could get better. It taught me about the other side of the industry, that is more than just making your clients happy behind the chair, but really exploring your own personal creativity and creating things that people will remember you for. Your clients will go, wow, that person's so creative. They've done this competition and that competition. I want to have a hairdresser who is really creative. And
do you think you've been able to put your prices up, Lydia, because of all the accolades that you've got? And do you think it's actually brought you more clients into the salon as well?
Definitely. It's a tricky subject, pricing yourself correctly. It's something that we in the industry have discussions on all the time. But it is so important when you put yourself out there and you win awards and you win accolades to mark yourself out as, being a destination hairdresser. And that is why you do these things. And it does mean that you can, put your prices up, that you have the right to, charge a little bit more for the services that are related to the accolades and awards that you've won.
And I know personally, Lydia, that the first competition that I ever entered changed my life completely. I mean, I did the competition on a shoestring. I know that other hairdressers like Atkin and people like that at the time were spending £50,000 on their collection. And I barely had £1,000 to create a collection for the British Hairdressing Awards. And winning that award, entering that competition changed my life forever because, like we always say at Stafford Education, when you enter awards, it improves your skills, your hairdressing skills, because you have to prep for that competition, right? And improving your skills is always a good thing. It's exciting entering competitions, right? It gets the blood flowing around your body. It's something to really look forward to. And, when you win awards and you get accolades like you have, there's loads of benefits, and I know for me personally, it got me a job on TV and it ended up launching my hair care line for me, a competition. If I hadn't have done that competition, then things may have never happened.
What an incredible and inspiring story. That's it goes to show that there's really no reason not to just give it a try. No matter what you're up against, what your budget is, and especially I think when you're training, because I didn't do lots of competition work when I was training because I didn't think I was good enough, to be quite honest with you. I really thought that was something that I was going to do later, that I would be better at later. And it's not until I just went for it one day. I just kind of didn't have any reason not to anymore. And I just went for it. And that was the first experience that really got me hooked on competing. And that was a colour competition. And I think, just try, the more times you try, the more chance you have and the better you'll become from your own personal experiments. And it's just fun. It is just fun, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Being creative.
Absolutely. Well, that was a great question from James. Thanks for that question, James Davidson. What college are you from, James? Anyone got any other questions for Lydia or myself? We're only here with you for an hour today. We're with you for an hour every other week. So any questions you've got for Lydia or me, just shoot.
So this is the result of the braid from the string dress recipe. So if you want to go over that and just kind of practice your braiding techniques and then change your sections. So what I've done is I've taken this 2 centimeter wide section that mimics the hairline or is parallel to the hairline. And instead of going from front to back, I've gone from back to front. And this is the result that you get. And that is kind of going to be the base of something very cool that we're going to create later. And then I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side, but I'm going to skip ahead from that. And if we got time at the end, I will do it at the end. But I just want to stay on track time-wise.
Do you still do a lot of braids in the salon, Lydia?
For things like wedding hair up, braiding is so popular. Braiding is really, I think, in fashion and never goes out of fashion, but also adapting braiding as the base of so many of your hair ups and creative looks and things. I think it's really important to actually have I'm not the world's best braider, but I'm a competent braider. And I'd say if you can get some competent braiding, then, it's really helpful if, for instance, you get the opportunity to assist at London Fashion Week, or you get to go and do any of the fashion weeks, you'll find yourself doing a lot of braiding. And that's really helpful.
So that's an interesting question that Mark's just come up with. He said, with the focus on sustainability, what theme would be good for a competition to promote sustainability?
Oh, I love that. Well, do you know, I've got a good answer for that. I think a lot of people, I'm sorry, just to really quickly touch on it, I'm just going to section the same section on the other side, and I'm just going to clip it out of the way for now. I've seen quite a few people who have created collections themed on sustainability, or created kind of avant-garde looks based on sustainability, incorporating recycled materials. So like using bits of old plastic bags and bin bags and molding them to amazing shapes, to kind of really make people conscious of what's going on in the world in terms of like the waste that we're creating. But also some of the looks that you create when you're doing avant-garde and you're doing photo shoots and things, and you're talking about £50,000 photo shoots, you have to buy hair and hair pieces and hair clips that you're buying them specifically for these looks, and it can be quite wasteful. You know, you create a wig or you create a look and you use it for that one photo shoot, and then people never use it again. And I think, you know, as an industry, we should start thinking about taking that wig, pulling it apart, brushing it out, washing it, and then making a whole new one using the same hair, dye it different colors, use it again and again and again. And I know when I started hairdressing, I was broke. I was so broke. I did not have enough money to be buying new hair pieces every time I wanted to create something. So I think, you know, that you can create themes around sustainability, but also we can be practicing sustainability by actually saying, you know, I found these clips, I use these clips, I bought them in a charity shop, I use them on another look, and actually be doing it as well. So now,
Jade's excited to see what this is going to look like, Lydia.
I'm excited to show you. So, do you know what?
Good question, Mark. Thanks for that question. Any other questions, guys? Just fire away.
So now we are going to create a series of ponytails coming out through the head from back to front, probably about 4 or 5. And the reason we're going to do that is because we are going to create an avant-garde mohawk today. So if you kind of just look at your model's head, because everyone's got different amount of hair, and that's really important. You know, mannequin heads often have far less or sometimes more hair than your model. So just have a little look, and in your mind, kind of divide how many sections you need to do for it to be equal. So I know that I probably, if it's going to be a nice equal sections, need to do 1 here. That's my first one. And again, I'm still being really loose with my hair clips because I don't want to disturb that curl at the end too much. Now I've got my section. I'm going to take a clear elastic, put it on my fingers for later. And then I'm going to use a bit of really strong hold hairspray, and I'm going to just spritz that in at the root. One of the early mistakes that I used to make is I used to use way too much hairspray when I was creating looks, and you can't go back once you've put too much on. So whilst it's really good to use hairspray for this look, for the styling element, try not to get too much hairspray on the ends of the head, just on the root, so that we can get it really, really neat. So yeah, using my comb, I'm just gonna comb it into a really tight ponytail and make sure it's nice and central to the section before I tie it in.
So Diane Mitchell's asked, and hello Diane, how are you? Diane was very instrumental in helping us with all the Lee Stafford education recipes at the start of our journey 7 years ago, wasn't you, Diane? So thank you very much for that. I always remember. I think it was actually the heated rollers, you know, Lydia. I presented the heated rollers to Diane because Diane checked over all our recipes at the beginning when we started this journey. And the actual heated rollers, the one that you're presenting now, I remember I showed Diane the video, and because the stylist had been quite creative in the way that she'd even put them in, like she wasn't too worried about them being, you know, neat and tidy. And Diane was like, no, that's not acceptable for level 2. They have to be, and she was right. You know, Diane was dead right. They needed to be, you know, look like, you know, Lydia, when you can always tell a good set by looking at it when it's in its set form. You know?
Totally.
And,
you know the result from
we had to redo it again, didn't we, Diane? But all good stuff. Thanks for that. So Diane's asked a good question. I went right around the houses there. Who inspires you, Lydia, for your hair ups? Who do you watch and get excited about?
Oh, okay. A big inspirations for me when doing Avant Garde, especially. I love Anne Beck. She is an amazing hairdresser who specializes in afro and texture and also in avant garde. And she's given me some really good tips over the years, but I love looking at her work.
And Anne Beck, she's the lady that's got the bright red hair, right?
She has indeed, yes.
Yeah.
And she is a huge advocate for sustainability, Mark. So she's a really good.
What about oh God, what's his Patrick Cameron? What do you think of Patrick Cameron?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's like the dad of the godfather of hair ups, isn't he?
He's unbelievable, isn't
he? The OG hair up master. I also really love, you know, this is a great one for you guys. There's a chap called Joseph Ianson, spelled Ianson. He is a hairdresser at Mark Leeson salons.
All right.
He has a big Instagram following and he creates like 30-second videos on how to do the most beautiful bridal hair ups, and they're so quick and so simple.
Are they?
You can always get inspiration from him.
How old's he, Lydia? Is he a young chap?
He is, yeah, young. About the same age
Like
as
Lee said, he's good at all that sort of dressing, isn't he? And hair up.
Yeah.
They've definitely got flair for that, haven't they?
Yeah, all of that. Yeah, to create some amazing avant-garde and commercial looks.
How important do you think it is these days, Lydia, hair ups?
Do you know what? It was really important at the beginning of my career when I had to do a bit of everything and I had to take any client that would come in the door, you know, and I was building my column. I had to be ready for anything and anyone. So I'd say it's important to get a really good knowledge of it. But then if you find that you really love hair up and you want to pursue that, then actually becoming a wedding hair artist is incredibly lucrative business. I think if you make that your career and spend every weekend traveling to hotels, doing bridal hair up, you know, what an awesome job. You get to go make people feel beautiful on the best day of their lives. And yeah, I think that sounds like, you know, that's a really amazing thing you can do on top of working in the salon during the week. And I
mean, session hair. I mean, if you're thinking about, you know, doing session hair or film or anything like that, I mean, you have to be really competent with hair up, don't you?
You have to, yeah. Celebrity hair, TV hair, film hair, fashion week. Yes, you have to really know your stuff and really know the basics and be able to pull something together really competently, really neatly. So I think it's a great thing to have a base knowledge of, even if you don't do it or offer it every day in the salon. So I finished her ponytails. And now I'm going to go back to the heated rollers recipe, because in the heated rollers recipe, we show you a awesome dressing out technique where you push the hair back into the curl. So we're going to use that in our ponytails. So I created my ponytails from back to front so that I could stay really neat and keep all the hair out of the way. And now I'm going to work from front to back. And starting kind of midway down the hair, pushing back all the way to the ends to create this amazing kind of fluffy texture that doesn't lose any of the shine of the hair. And then once I've got this sort of back pushed, slightly almost back combed effect and texture in the hair, I'm just gonna mold it, twist it round and mold it. Just literally all I've done is just twist it really lightly. And now I'm gonna put a clip in to the front. This is one of these grips. So it's kind of an open grip, like this one. And then with the hair at the front, I'm going to leave that out and I'm going to kind of pull it forward to create a cool little fringe effect. And now it's just all down to visual taste to kind of look and adapt.
That's looking beautiful already.
Oh, thanks, Lee. It's just, I love this, the way the back pushing has created this stunning airy texture that then you can really manipulate to make something super cool around the face. I'm so inspired by this beautiful shape here. And then I'm going to just carry on doing that through the rest of the hair. So getting your fingers. And pushing. And if there's any pieces that have fallen out, because this is quite a layered block. And that's another thing, you know, you might find the best model in the world, going back to finding good models, you might literally find the best model in the world, but she has a fringe, or she has a hair, you know, she's had a haircut, she's got an undercut, she's got lots of layers in her hair. Sometimes you just have to adapt and invent and work around that, you know, especially if you want to go into, say, something like session styling where you have to create looks for photo shoots. You know, you don't always, as the hairstylist, know what the model's going to be like on the day, and you just get what you're given and you have to create some magic out of it. So it's really good to, at an early stage, be adaptable and be able to work with whatever canvas you've got. So I'm just kind of really loosely molding this amazing texture. And then when I find a shape I'm happy with, I take one grip and I just put it in, and that's it. Don't overload it with grips. But if there's any loose pieces that need to go in, then we can add another grip as well. So again, using the curl, pushing to create that amazing texture, beautiful and airy, but it's still got the shine to it. And then I'm just going to kind of really loosely mold it with my hands. So it's kind of like using my hand as a cup almost, and then just twisting slightly and just one grip in, and then that's the start of the look, and then you can just find any pieces that need another clip.
So every masterclass, we have a competition, and the winner of the competition wins a Lee Stafford goodie box filled with products. So I'm going to ask a question, and in the chat, you can all start throw your answers out there. And the first person that guesses right, what I'd like to do is I'd like your lecturer just to send me a little email, letting me know where I can send the products to the college or to you yourself, and what your hair type's roughly like, so we know what kind of products to send you. So the question is, what famous hairdresser did I work with down the King's Road in London, Chelsea, when I was 15 years old? They were 15 years old as well, and we were both in a salon as an assistant together, and now they are an incredibly famous hairdresser. So what hairdresser was that? So I love this, Lydia, because it's got that mohawk vibe, but it's very, very soft, isn't it?
It is. And I think what you'll find when you're creating competition and avant-garde looks is, or when you're looking at other people's work as well, texture and unusual textures in the hair, where it almost looks like material or just doesn't look like hair, it looks like something else, is a really common theme. A lot of people are using the hair to create something that's otherworldly. I feel like it looks like clouds on her head. So now I'm just kind of going to go through, and I'm just going to remold any bits by adding just 1 or 2 clips here and there, just to make sure that it really has that mohawk effect that I want to create all in the center here.
Nikita said this looks good for a festival vibe.
Oh,
looks
yeah,
amazing.
I love that.
Mm.
You could totally do it for a festival. So now we're going to really level it up. And you'll notice the difference between avant-garde and maybe like a more bridal or festival look is that it is kind of something you would never see on the high street. You would never see it, in the salon day to day. It's something you would see on a music video, on a celebrity kind of stage show, something you would see on a catwalk, on a runway, or in a avant-garde collection for a competition.
Or it could be on a film.
Yeah, exactly, in like a sci-fi film or something like that. So we are going to use something unconventional, and it's really fun to really use your imagination at this point and try and create something that maybe no one's ever seen before and no one's ever done before. I mean, admittedly, I'm doing something that somebody has done before, but you can use your creativity and take it even further if you like. What I've done is I have got some cocktail sticks, some toothpicks like this, and I've spray painted them black. And we are going to start using these to create something really, really cool and avant-garde. So in our string dress braid that we created here, we're now going to go, and in between each braid, so you know where each braid kind of knots in, there's like a dip, and we're going to put our cocktail stick in each of those dips to begin with. And then when we've done that, we're going to continue doing that down the braid as well. But this time we're going to kind of stick it through horizontally in those dips in the braid. So stick it right through the middle of the plait like this. Can you see? And you see how it's starting to create something almost a bit sci-fi, a bit otherworldly.
Wow.
And now you can get really creative. So I think that this looks awesome, but I also think the more that we add, the more otherworldly it's going to look. So I'm now going to go in between and I'm going to add another cocktail stick in between each one. And I'm going to get some more and I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to go in between. So they're all evenly spaced, but I'm going to build them up until we've got more and more and more, until they're virtually next to each other. And do you see how that's almost like creating a Mohican shape that mimics the top Mohican shape? Do you know what? I'm not going to lie, Lee. I don't actually know the answer to your competition. I'm so curious.
Who do you think it is, Lydia? Tamara Beckworth. That's a great one. Tamara Beckworth, I did actually work with Tamara Beckworth. I did a show called Celebrity Scissorhands, and she was one of the celebrities I was training, but that wasn't when I was 15. I was about 31 then. Who do you think it is? Steve Strange. I did work with Steve Strange. He was my assistant manager on, well, he wasn't my assistant manager to begin with. He was one of the celebrities I was training, but Endemol thought it would be hilarious if they made him my assistant manager because he was the least likely assistant manager in the world. And I loved him dearly. He was great. Adi Phelan, I actually trained. Adi Phelan came to work for me when he was 27, and I trained him to be a hairdresser. But Adie's a lot younger than me. Jamie Stevens is a lot younger than me. He's a generation below me. He's a similar age to you, isn't he? Or a little bit older than you, Lydia?
Yeah, a little bit older than me, I think.
Yeah. I think he's just the generation above you, isn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
George Northwood. Are you guys forgetting how old I am? George Northwood's another one. How old is George Northwood? He must be in his late 30s.
Yeah.
I'm 56, so when I was 15, I don't think George Northwood was born. But Ed Moss, do you know who Ed Moss is, Lydia?
I do, yeah.
Who's Ed Moss?
Is Ed Moss the Ed Moss who's just gone onto the Fame team this year?
But he's a lot younger than me. So he's the Ed Moss that's working with you.
He wasn't on my Fame team. He's on the next Fame team.
Right, gotcha.
But he's younger than me, so
yeah.
He was probably not born yet. These are all people on this year's Fame team.
Wow, I mean, it's amazing how you've turned that really soft vibe. It's still soft through the top, but it's definitely turned into something much stronger now just by adding that, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's so cool, isn't it? Like that you can almost use like juxtaposing textures.
Yeah.
You know, like these spiky, harsh spikes, and then this lovely, soft, shiny texture.
I think Michael Van Clark's a lot older than me, I think. But they're all good. They're good guesses, though. Keep them coming, guys. It's for a goodie box of Lee Stafford products. So again, when I was 15, I was training with somebody who was also 15 down the King's Road in Chelsea, and they have gone on to become a very famous hairdresser. Actually, there was two of us. There was two of them that have gone on to become quite famous hairdressers, actually.
So I could keep doing this for ages, but I'm actually really happy with the amount in there now. And instead of doing the braid on the other side, I'm actually going to show you one that I made earlier. And so you can see the finished result on this lady here.
Wow.
So I had a bit of fun with this one, and I've given her a bit of colour too. So we did a root tint of a nice kind of steely grey colour, and then used the toner recipe from the full head highlights to give it this lovely pink sheen.
Wow.
And voila.
That looks amazing. Diane Mitchell says, love it. Can you recap what you've done there, Lydia? Starting off with, because this was all inspired from doing the classic Lee Stafford Education heated roller recipe, right? That is quite, it's quite a soft, you know, sort of commercial look in its essence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you are doing avant-garde or hair up, you need to create texture, and you have to use some kind of setting method to create that texture. So that can be using the twisted tong, or using straightener curls, or you can be using the vintage tong. Whatever kind of look you're trying to create, you need some kind of texture, some kind of setting method to start with. So I thought it'd be really fun to use the heated roller recipe, which is beautiful. It's soft. It creates not too much of a harsh curl, but it gives loads of volume at the roots. And so, yes, we use the classic Lee Stafford heated rollers recipe, but we switched it up a little bit by using smaller rollers, and we alternated them between small and medium instead of going from large to small at the back. And that was our setting method to start off with. So we didn't use any other curling techniques, just the heated rollers. Then we used this 2 centimeter section all the way around the hairline, following the shape of the hairline. And we used the string dress recipe to make a much smaller version of the braid, which we then created from back to front and then continued along down. And actually, I didn't go over this, but to seal the braid, I didn't use sorry, my brain's fallen out. I didn't use a hair tie to finish it off. I just backcombed it because it's just such a small amount of hair. And so I just backcombed it a few times to seal the braid. And that's given it this beautiful airy texture that mimics the top really nicely, I think. Then I went through and I created about 5 really super tight ponytails, which I secured really nicely with some hairspray, so that it's lovely and tight and shiny to the head, and created ponytails that went all down the center, and then used the back pushing technique, again from the heated rollers recipe, to create this incredible super soft curly texture, which we then just molded and adapted and played with until we could create this fabulous textured mohawk down the middle, using whatever was left over to create a really beautiful fringe in the front.
You're getting a lot of love here, Lydia. I mean, everyone's going nuts. I mean, what does everyone think about Lydia's finished look? Let us know in the chat, please, guys. I think it looks brilliant. I mean, it's such a simple thing that you've done there. and it looks fierce, doesn't it? It really does look fierce. Yeah, we're getting a lot of love. Everyone is really enjoying that look, Lydia. Well done. It looks
thank you so much, everyone. And I really hope that you have taken some inspiration today, and that we get loads of entries into the Lee Stafford competition.
Absolutely. And guys, just so the answer to the question, who did I work with down the King's Road in Chelsea when I was 15 years old? Who did I start training with, who's gone on to become a really famous hairdresser, is Errol Douglas.
No way!
So me and Errol Douglas worked together at 15. So the winner of that question was Eleanor Davey. So please get your lecturer to email me the address I need to send the products, what your hair's like, so we know what products to send you. Also, Richard Wald was with us as well. It was me, Errol Douglas, and Richard Wald when we was 15.
That was going to be my answer.
Was it? Was it going to be Richard Wald? And just to let all you guys know that the next masterclass is going to be on the 23rd of January. It's going to be a twist on the one length above, so a twist on the classic bob. So I can't wait to see what one of our STAFs does with that. Lydia, bang on time. Still got 2 or 3 minutes to go. If anyone's got a question for Lydia before we go, or myself, great presentation today, Lydia, as always. Very, very inspiring. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to all our partner colleges and all our new colleges that came along today and watched. I hope it's been helpful for you. I hope that you've enjoyed it. It's added some value. And we look forward to seeing you again on the 23rd, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So until then, Lydia, thank you very much again. Thank you all very much for watching, and look after yourselves, be kind to one another, and we shall see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ta-da.